In this video, I'm going to show you how to scale your Facebook ads. Okay, so whenever you see an ad that's doing well, it's generating leads, opt-ins, event signups, or it's generating conversions or purchases. You might say to yourself, well, how do I scale this ad, right? So within Facebook itself, there are a few options to do this. Okay, so I'm just going to select a live campaign from one of my accounts inside of the Facebook Ads Manager. And this is a conversion campaign. Okay, so I'm going to use a conversion campaign as the example, and we'll just go with this ad set here, which is fine. Okay, so you can see that it's got 8 purchases. The cost per purchase is $43.65. Okay, so let's say hypothetically this is actually very profitable for us. It's within our profitability range. Okay, the cost per result, or the CPA, the cost per acquisition. I might say to myself that I want to increase this and scale it, right? Because it's already converting, so I want to get the most out of it. I want to squeeze the most juice out of it, right? So the most obvious thing you can do is increase the ad spend. Okay, and to do that, you just go inside the ad set and select go to the daily budget and increase that. Okay, that's all you need to do. So this is the most straightforward way of doing a scaling an ad set. Okay, now there are some limitations to this. The first being that an ad set that's scaled by budget, over time it will be more expensive. Okay, so Facebook is going to charge you more for these ads. Okay, so just bear that in mind when you are running these. The cost of your ads and your profit margins, will go down. Okay, and your cost of your ads will go up. Okay, so that's just the first thing to bear in mind. Okay, the second thing you can do is you can create a duplicate of the ad. Okay, so this is quite interesting. Okay, so what you can do is, if your audience is, like, say in the millions, right, like say 1 or 2 million, you're targeting a really, really broad audience like dogs or something like that, you can actually duplicate the same ad multiple times. Okay, and do it that way. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably saying that, aren't you competing with yourself? Well, not really. I mean, Facebook is an auction anyway, right? So why not just throw up more of your winning ads and then let them compete with each other? Okay, if the audience is, like, say 1 million, right, you can comfortably duplicate 5 to 10 ads. Okay, I would do something like, if it's 1 million in the audience size, I would actually duplicate it 5 times. Okay, the same ad, if it's converting. Okay, because the audience size is big enough, okay, to cope. So that is an option that you can use. Okay, the next thing you can do is you can use a lookalike audience. Okay, so in another video we talk about lookalike audiences and how you can create them and how you can build them, right? Well, if an audience is working, let's say it's a custom audience of newsletter signups, let's say, for example, right? We've just built an audience of newsletter signups. The audience size is like 100,000 people. Okay, and these are people who signed up to your website, to your newsletter. The audience size is only 100,000, but it's converting. But now you want to scale it because you're going to hit a ceiling. Okay, so what you can do is you can create a lookalike audience off that newsletter subscribers list, and then you have like a 1% audience, right? And what that means is that you can actually scale up off that source data, off that newsletter signups or subscribers, and you're basically telling Facebook to go out there and find me more people like this. Okay, because remember, Facebook has so much information about us, right? It knows the type of buyers we are, the type of clickers we are, etc., etc. Okay, so what we could do here is you would go into the, I mean, this is a saved ad, but a saved audience ad, but inside of custom audiences, you can then select a lookalike audience. Okay, and you can build lookalike audiences for pretty much anything you want. Okay, you've got add to carts, right? VC, which is view content, no add to cart. Page visits. This is ManyChat, which is a chatbot, right? A collection. So if they've viewed a collection or a page or a website or a sub page on your domain, then you can build an audience for that. Did they add payment information? Did they initiate a checkout? okay? Lifetime customer value. So on a separate video, I showed you how to create that, and use Facebook's inbuilt tool to build that customer lifetime value. Okay, you can also build events inside of Facebook, like purchase 180 days, and again, I'll discuss this more in a different video. But you can see that the options are kind of limitless with lookalike audiences. Okay, and just remember, these are just 1% ads. Okay, or 1% lookalike audiences. Each lookalike audience can be created up to 10 times. Okay, so we can multiply this list by 10, right? So that then you've scaled up again. Okay, you could keep just multiplying, and these are just a few of the events. I mean, there's so much more you can create inside of Facebook, and I highly recommend you setting out like a morning or an afternoon, and then just doing this in batches. Okay, it's much easier to do this in batches than it is to kind of create a lookalike audience, create the audience, the custom audience that you want to use to build a lookalike audience, as and when you need it, right? Instead of just doing it, spending a couple of hours and just knocking out like 20 custom audiences and like 100 lookalike audiences. Okay, so the lookalike audience, and let's just select this one. We'll just use that. Update, and what we'll do is just wait for this to finish. It's actually updating a live audience, so let me just cancel that for now. Make sure it hasn't updated my audience. Okay, so it has. It's done it there, and I'll change this obviously when I finish this video. But inside of your custom audiences, you can select the lookalike audience. Okay, and like I said, you can run this to pretty much any custom audience. You can build it off. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is adding more interests. Okay, so let me just get rid of this. And what you can do here is you can find more interests to target. Okay, so this is just targeting kind of horse rider magazines. We could target suggestions inside of Facebook. So the suggestions that Facebook gives us, we could do that. We can do just there's hundreds and thousands of suggestions that Facebook's going to give us. Okay, so this is a good idea. My personal favorite is to go into the audience insights and do the research there, and find more interests. There is a video on that, so have a look at that video because it's very useful. Okay, so do it that way. And let me just click on this to update the audience. Okay, so once this is done. Okay, I'll show you another way of scaling up your ads. Okay, so whenever you do these scaling options, just make sure you duplicate the original and then scale it. Okay, don't ever edit the original ad. Okay, if it's converting up with opt-ins, sign-ups, leads, whatever, just leave the original and duplicate it. Okay, so if you are running more interests, create a second ad and test those second set of interests. Okay, so that's the best way to do that. Something else you can do is you can split test different platforms. Okay, so if an ad is converting on your Facebook feed, try duplicate the ad and then run it to right column. Okay, here it's kind of grayed out because this is running to mobile only, but if you have desktop ads running, you can test it with right column. Okay, you can split test it with marketplace, and you can split test it with stories. Okay, Facebook stories. So this is a the kind of Instagram stories platform, very similar. You can do the same inside of Facebook. Okay, then one that I like to do the most is split test Facebook with Instagram. Okay, so if you've got a winning ad, duplicate it, run it to just Instagram only. Okay, so then you've got another iteration of a successful ad, but it's running on a different platform. Okay, so that could possibly help you, and run it to feeds and stories as well. You can do the same for Audience Network. In another video, I'll show you the kinds of things that I do with Audience Network, and that's very profitable. And lastly, you can do the same with Messenger. Okay, so you can basically have one campaign with different ads. So a few sets of ads running to Facebook, the next set running to Instagram, and the last set running to Messenger. Okay, so they could be running the same ads, the same targeting, the same lookalike audiences, but you've got more iterations of the same winning ad, and it's running across different platforms. Okay, and Something else I want to talk about in terms of scaling is quite possibly one of my favorite. Okay, so I like to do something called manual bidding. Okay, so if I know an ad is converting and it's converting really well, whether that's low CPA or the ROAS, the return on ad spend is high, then I wanna and I know that the audience is big enough, as in like it's a million or more, then I want to scale it quickly over to a manual bidding ad. Okay, and basically what a manual bidding ad um, is basically setting up an ad and telling Facebook that you're willing to pay a specific amount for your ad delivery. Okay, so for this example, because I'm using conversion ads, I'm telling Facebook that I want to bid in the auction, and I'm willing to pay X amount of money for the conversion. Okay, if you're running this for engagements, you would do the same for engagements. If it was for link clicks, you would do it for link clicks, and so on. Okay, but for this example, I'm going to do it for conversions. So basically, I'm telling Facebook that I want to spend a ton of money very quickly, but I want it to be within a specific range. Okay, so within Facebook itself, within the ad set, you've got a option here that you can set it for pretty much anything. This is by default conversions because, like I said, this is a conversion campaign, and so the bid strategy is dependent on your goals. Okay, so you have two options. The first is the lowest cost. The second is target cost. Okay, so lowest cost is get the most purchases for your budget. Okay, so the lowest cost is telling Facebook to just optimize the ad and just get me the lowest possible cost. And that could be you're spending $100 a day on the ad, get me conversions at $20, for example, right? And then you set a bid cap. Okay, so the bid cap is basically the kind of boundary that you're setting with Facebook. Okay, so typically what I would do with a manual bidding ad is that I would set the ads to something like $500 a day up to $1,000 per day per ad. Okay, now I know you're thinking that's like outrageous, it's super high budgets. We're not actually going to spend that, and we're not actually intending to spend that. Okay, the budget is there on the table, and should Facebook meet your conditions, then it will use that money and spend it. Okay, and that's why it's called manual bidding, because we are setting a manual bid. So the bid cap is basically what you're willing to spend per purchase. Okay, now just bear in mind, right? The lower the bid cap, the harder you're gonna have to, the harder it's gonna make it for Facebook to deliver impressions. Okay, because if you're selling a product that's like $100 and you set the bid cap to $1, right? That's unrealistic, right? Facebook, it doesn't matter how advanced the Facebook algorithm is, or how successful your ads are. It's going to be very difficult for you to convert an ad at $1 per sale. Okay, so just be realistic in that. Okay, and what you'll find is that if it's running out like $1 per sale or $1 per purchase, you're not going to get any traffic to the ads. Okay, so what I say, my golden rule is find out what your CPA is. So if you're selling something for $50 and you're willing to spend up to $25 to acquire that sale, then your CPA is $25, right? And then what I do is I sometimes double it or triple the CPA. So if it's $25, I'll set my bid cap to either $50 or $75. Okay. Now you do have to be careful here, because if you set it too high, then Facebook is going to blow through your budget very quickly. Okay. But the reason I start off high and then work my way down is because I want Facebook to deliver impressions straight away, and I want to win as many auctions as possible. Okay, so typically what I will do is I'll set the bid cap to anywhere between kind of $70 to $80, and just see the traffic coming in. If it's too aggressive and I'm getting traffic that's not really converting, or I'm not getting add to carts, or link clicks or engagements, or whatever it is that I'm running, or whatever it is you're running, then I will reduce the bid cap. Okay, so I'll bring it down from 80 down to 70, 60, 50. And then what you'll find is that you hit a sweet spot, okay, where it could be something like $50, but your actual so your bid cap is $50. So you're basically telling Facebook that I'm willing to go up to $50 per sale. But Facebook is actually delivering CPA is lower than $50. Okay, so that's something that is available to you, and these scale very quickly. Like, because if you have an audience that's like in the millions, you've kind of nailed the ad. The entire funnel is working, and you're getting conversions, leads, or opt-ins. Then you can scale that very, very quickly, okay, with manual bidding, because you can set budgets of up to like 1,000, 2,000 a day with a bid cap, and Facebook will only spend it once the ad actually meets the bid cap, okay? So the CPA is met, okay? And what that means is that you're not always going to spend, like, say if your daily budget was $500, you're not always going to spend $500. Some days it might be 200, some days it might be 100, 50, but effectively what you're doing is you're allowing Facebook, you're giving Facebook the freedom to go out there and find these buyers for you at a reasonable price, okay? So that's the lowest cost, and this is certainly my favorite bid strategy, okay? The next one you have is target cost, okay? So target cost is when you want to maintain your average cost per purchase, or CPA, as you raise the budget, okay? So typically I don't really do this because I will have a budget of say $500 a day or $1,000 a day if it's manual bidding. I'm not really gonna, I'm not gonna be tweaking the daily budgets. I'm only gonna be tweaking the bid caps, okay? So I will use lowest cost whenever I can, and then just adjust the bid cap here. But if you wanted to increase the daily budgets and you wanted to test the average CPA, then you would use target costs, okay? But I highly recommend the lowest cost, and start off small, right? Like just don't throw money at it, right? Like start off with like a $50 a day or $100 a day ad, and then start with a low bid cap, okay? And then as you get more experienced and you get more confident, you can then move this bid cap up and down, okay? So that's basically it from this video. Hopefully you found it very useful. There are a few different strategies here. Certainly the manual bidding is my favorite, but I also like duplicating winning ads, and just see what works for you, right? Like not every account in Facebook is going to be the same because we all target different people. We're running different products in different industries, okay? So just like I always say, just keep testing. So I'll see you on the next video.